Let me begin with a truth most people never notice. In a world where everyone is desperate to be seen, the most powerful people are often the ones who remain unseen. Strange, isn't it? We live in an era where every meal, every smile, every sunset, and every temporary feeling is turned into content. Birthdays aren't celebrated, they're broadcast. Moments aren't lived, they're uploaded. And silence has almost become suspicious. But there are still people out there, quiet shadows, who scroll through everything without leaving a single trace. No posts, no stories, no digital footprints. Just presence, invisible and unannounced. Maybe you know someone like that. Maybe that someone is you. And the question that always lingers in people's minds is simple. Why? Why would someone choose to stay hidden when the whole world is screaming for attention? Most people assume the quiet ones are shy, insecure, or introverted. But the truth is far more complicated and far more beautiful, because silence on social media is not emptiness. It's intention. It's control. It's the power to choose what the world never gets to see. Music rises slightly, you see. Social media didn't just change how we communicate. It changed how we exist. It reshaped identity. It taught us that loudness equals relevance, and visibility equals worth. But some people rejected that idea without ever announcing it. They don't post not because they have nothing to say, but because they understand something most people don't. Not every thought needs an audience. Not every moment needs a witness. Not every emotion needs validation. Psychologists found something fascinating. People who rarely post often score higher in traits like introspection, emotional independence, self-restraint, internal confidence. It means their identity is rooted in who they truly are, not in how they appear. And in a world addicted to applause, this kind of self-anchoring is rare. Because let's be honest, most of what we post is not self-expression. It's self-curation. It's a performance we hope the world accepts. Every caption quietly whispers, "Please understand me. Please approve of me." But when someone stops posting, something shifts. Moments stop being potential content and start being experiences again. They stop thinking in filters and begin thinking in feelings. Life becomes personal instead of performative. Music softens. Many silent users aren't avoiding social media. They're avoiding the pressure that comes with it. The pressure to appear happy, successful, interesting, relevant. Because once you start posting your joy, you also start feeling the pressure to maintain that image. And slowly, without noticing, you stop living for yourself and start living for the feed. Some people wake up one day and feel that shift, and they quietly step back. No announcements, no taking a break, just silence, a return to authenticity. But here's the part most people misunderstand. Silence isn't a sign of emptiness. It's a sign of depth. People who don't post feel life intensely. They absorb everything, the details others scroll past. They watch without interrupting. They observe without competing. And they understand without performing. Their thoughts are loud, but their presence is soft. There's a psychological concept called psychological ownership, the feeling that an experience is deeply and uniquely yours. When you post it, even a little, that ownership dissolves. It becomes public property, open to opinions, misinterpretations, and judgment. So some people protect their moments fiercely. They keep their joy private, their growth private, their struggles private, not because they're hiding, but because they're preserving what matters. Music deepens. Think about this for a second. When was the last time you did something meaningful and didn't feel even a tiny urge to share it? That urge, it's not natural. It's conditioning. Years of likes, shares, and dopamine loops have rewired our brains to equate digital presence with real worth. So when someone chooses to step outside that loop, it's not passiveness, it's rebellion. It's healing. And in that quiet space, something beautiful happens. They start living for themselves again, cooking because they enjoy it, traveling for the experience, not the pictures, feeling without explaining, healing without announcing. But not everyone who stays silent does it from strength. For some, it's fear. Fear of judgment. Fear of saying the wrong thing. Fear of being misunderstood in a world that judges quickly and forgives slowly. Social media created a new type of anxiety, self-presentational pressure. The constant awareness that you're being watched, even when you're not. And for some people, that pressure is too heavy. So they retreat not to disconnect from people, but to reconnect with themselves. Ironically, sometimes the people who post the least feel the most. They're not empty. They're overflowing with thoughts, emotions, reflections, but they'd rather hold them close than turn them into content. Music, soft pause in a world screaming, "Look at me." Their silence becomes a form of self-definition. A quiet statement that says, "I exist beyond your perception." And that kind of existence is rare, pure, powerful. There's something almost poetic about the people who disappear from social media. Not dramatically, not loudly, just quietly. As if they were never required to exist in the digital spotlight in the first place. And here's what most people don't realize. When someone stops posting, they don't vanish. They simply return to a version of themselves that doesn't need an audience. Because offline, away from screens and noise, life hits differently. Colors feel richer. Time feels slower. Conversations feel deeper. It's like stepping out of a crowded room into fresh air. Music deepens, you see. When you stop performing for the world, you start experiencing the world. Fully, honestly, unfiltered. There's a quiet beauty in living moments that only you know about. Moments that don't need validation. Moments that don't need to be turned into something post-worthy. Psychologists say that every time we post something and get likes, comments, hearts, our brain releases dopamine. The same feel-good chemical involved in reward and addiction. Over time, our mind starts craving that validation. We begin thinking in terms of what will look good online, instead of what feels good to me. Now imagine the kind of inner strength it takes to step outside this cycle, to resist the urge to be seen, to exist quietly but fully. That's not disinterest. That's discipline. People who don't post often have what psychologists call a strong, internal locus of control, a belief that their worth comes from within, not from views, likes, or reactions. They don't need the digital echo of "you're enough" to believe they are enough. And interestingly, studies show that stepping back from posting, or even consuming too much social media, creates measurable improvements in emotional stability and life satisfaction. Because once your identity isn't being constantly reflected back to you, it becomes solid again. More grounded, more real. Music shifts to a calmer tone, but let's be honest, silence isn't always peace. Sometimes silence is protection. Sometimes silence is healing. Sometimes silence is exhaustion. Many people retreat from social media not because they dislike it, but because they're tired of performing. tired of pretending everything is perfect, tired of keeping up an image that doesn't feel true anymore. They realize that they no longer owe the world a highlight reel. They don't need to prove happiness with pictures. They don't need to prove progress with updates. And they certainly don't need to announce their pain online just to feel acknowledged. This generation has confused visibility with value. We've been conditioned to think that if no one saw it, it didn't matter. That if no one commented, it wasn't real. That if no one acknowledged us, we somehow lacked significance. But the truth is completely different. Some of the most important moments of your life will happen without a single person watching. Your biggest growth, your deepest heartbreaks, your quiet victories, your internal transformations, they live in your memory, not in your media. And the people who don't post, they understand this deeply. They understand that privacy is not loneliness. It's intimacy with yourself. It's the space where you rediscover who you are when nobody is evaluating you. Because when you stop broadcasting every thought, you start hearing your own thoughts again. You reconnect with the parts of you that got drowned out by noise, comparison, and constant stimulation. Your quiet desires, your unspoken fears, your inner compass. There's something almost spiritual about that. It's not a disappearance, it's a return. A homecoming to yourself. Music grows warmer, but silence isn't always easy. There are days when it feels like you're falling behind while everyone else is performing progress online. There are days when invisibility feels like irrelevance. When the world seems to be moving fast, and you're simply watching from the sidelines. But give it time, and something changes. You realize your worth didn't disappear just because no one saw it. Your joy didn't shrink just because no one liked it. Your growth didn't stop just because no one posted about it. There's a quiet confidence that grows when you're no longer dependent on being seen. A calm assurance that your life is still meaningful even when it isn't visible. Some people say, if you didn't post it, did it even happen? But the reality is even more beautiful. Things that shape you most deeply rarely ever make it to the feed. They happen in silence, in private, in moments the world will never witness, but that will stay with you forever. When psychologists study authentic self-expression, they look at something called